Hello world. I'm live, and tonight we're going to do some painting. I should have painted yesterday. Apologies, I couldn't get to it, but today we got a crap ton to paint. We're going to be painting the Nemesis Lockdown. Hey, Mike Forner, good to see you out there. Let's see what we're looking at. So, Nemesis in normal fashion has in the original game, they're called intruders. In this game, I don't know what they're called, but basically the original game, you're on a spaceship and the intruders or aliens come get you. In this game, they are on a Mars space station or something. So we're on when we traveled back to when we escaped the first Nemesis ship, we went to Mars and we found a whole bunch of stuff. So what we're going to be doing is painting these little critters. So first there are little baby aliens. Whoa, and this is what they look like. I already pre-primed these and I dry brushed them gray and dry brushed them white. So today we're mainly just gonna do colors on this stuff. So these little guys come in two molds, or two sculpts. There's this one and this one. So they're cute. And then when they get bigger, I guess they kind of look like this one. That's pretty interesting. And then when they get even bigger, they turn into these guys. And these guys are more like they have an alien head. And then when they get even bigger, they turn into these guys. And then when they get even bigger, they're going to turn into these. Hey, Ted's here. Yeah, I just started a little bit early because I wanted to get things running because we got a lot of painting to do tonight and I don't have a lot of time. I want to try to keep this under 2 hours if I can help it. And then there are these guys. So these are kind of like the normal intruder size, but they're bigger, or they're probably about the same size as the original intruders. So there's two sculpts of those, and then there's the big giant beast dudes. We're going to yeah, and there's two of these. So, and then finally there's the queen. I have to zoom out a little bit on this. So there is the queen. And finally, this is my one complaint about the original Nemesis, is that the queen doesn't have an egg sac, but this queen, that's definitely an egg sac. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, I primed and dry brushed these already, so we're mainly going to be doing colors today. Color is the best, most fun part. However, the trouble is this game is pretty drab. I guess it takes place on Mars, so most of the aliens are just this kind of sand color or even almost whitish. And you know, I hate using white. So this is like this queen really looks like flesh. So we're just going to cover her in flesh. We're going to do her like the thing miniatures. But these guys are a little bit more shiny. So I'll probably do like a Morghast bone on them, like a bone color. We'll see what happens. Hey, Reddit's here. Yeah, sorry about Sunday. My dog is kind of sick, so I've been struggling trying to get her taken care of and actually getting all this crap done. So I appreciate your patience, but we are definitely, yes, we have a new thing called Egg Sack Monday. All right, cool. So so that's these guys. So there's the Nemesis. There's also a, I guess we're trying to escape. And so I got the Kickstarter exclusives. It comes with like a little Mars rover thing. So this is the thing we're trying to escape off of Mars with. So I definitely need to paint this up. I dry brush this. I already put some little silver on it too. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, I forgot about these giant things too. These guys are like hanging off the walls, which is neat. Hopefully these should paint really quick because they're really just going to be one color. We're just going to do them in a kind of a bone color. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 survivors that we'll want to do. And let's see if we've got the cards here. So first there's the lab rat. And let me see if I can find. I'm guessing this is the miniature for the lab rat, maybe. And oh no, it's got to be this one. I couldn't tell you. Let's see who the others are, and then we'll process of elimination. All right, so here's the sentry. The sentry has some kind of thing on his face. And that means that this is the sentry. All right, so again, very drab colors. We're going to have to figure out how to amp these guys up. Also, I try to do the color of their player color, because this is the blue guy, the lab rat's purple. Here's the hacker. Oh, I see. This was the lab rat. It shows the miniature on the card. So yeah, this is the lab rat here. I don't know why a lab rat has a ginormous gun, but that's cool. This is the hacker. Where's the hacker? Here's the hacker. He's the green player, and here's what he looks like. Whoa. And then we've got the xenobiologist. This is the chick that has the cool kind of robot Doc Ock arms. That's fun. And then we have the survivor. The red ones are normally the fighter types. So I'm excited that this girl is the fighter. She's the new captain, basically, which is cool. And then finally, there's the janitor, because what space is not complete without a janitor? And it's this guy. And what janitor would not be complete with a giant flamethrower? So we'll see how many of those miniatures, how many of the people miniatures we can get to. And also, the Kickstarter came with these little doors, which I already sort of painted, so we might end up, I just primed them black and then put silver on top to make them look cool. I might put some kind of colors on the keypads, but we don't have to do that tonight. But the cool part about this, the original Nemesis doors they were ginormous doors. These are more fit on the board, and well, they come apart so you can show them as broken. Whoa. So yeah, that's really cool. But we're not going to worry about doors tonight. I kind of pre-did them already. So what we really want to do is aliens. And then if we have time, I really want to have some Lord of the Rings stuff here, where here's my Orthanc Tower. No, this isn't Orthanc. This is the, oh my God. Let's just say the Eye of Sauron. And then this is Mount Doom. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to try to do Mount Doom. So I kind of, again, primed it and put some dry brush gray, dry brush white. What I really need to do is get really white colors in the numbers and in the volcano as lava, and then we can color that yellow, and that should be pretty easy to do. We'll see how that goes. But to keep in the Nemesis theme, I also have these figures I forgot I got from a while back. I don't know if anyone watches Battlestar Galactica, but one of my favorite characters there is Muffet. He's the dog that the kid loves. His name, they're called Daggets. So in Battlestar Galactica world, their dogs are these little cybernetic chimpanzees. So we might paint this guy and have him run around the Nemesis board with us when we do the Nemesis solo. But yeah, that is that. So let's get a crackin', shall we? I think we're gonna start with some colors. So let's put some color on these bad boys. All right, like I mentioned, I think I'm gonna try this Skeleton Horde is what the contrast paint is called. Skeleton Horde. because I think the idea is these aliens are they're kind of on Mars, so you would think their natural camouflage would be something. Let me move this camera a little bit this way. Then I don't have to stretch to paint it. All right. Yeah, so I think their natural habitat is going to be a sandy kind of color. Normally I would do Agarose Dunes on this stuff, but this Skeletal Horde color is like, it's almost identical to Agarose Dunes. It's just like a shade whiter or a shade lighter. Let me just put it right on top. Yeah, so the other part about using these really lighter kind of contrast paints is that they really preserve the shadows you made underneath, so you don't have to worry about it covering anything up. All right, I'm trying to be all cool, but I'm an old man, I need glasses. All right, cool. We'll just, yeah, put some stuff on there and bada bing, bada boom, we got an alien. So what I'll do is I'm just going to put some of this brown sandy color on them. The queen we're going to do in a flesh color, but you know, this works for these guys. And then I'll come back and I'll just give them some whiter teeth and some, you know, I'm going to kill you eyes. But at the end of the day, yeah, that's all we're going to do. We're just going to throw this kind of color on them, make sure there's no like white spots or anything. And then we'll come back and we'll put some silver on the base and we'll be done. So there's 3 of these guys. So we just do 1, 2, 3, just like so. And let me go back to the comments so I can see if you guys are saying anything. Oh yes, Ted, that's right. I gotta use cheaters. That means -1. Well, I mean, then all painting is -1 because there's just no way I can do this without cheaters. Especially these tiny models. When they get bigger, it's a little bit easier to figure out, but you know, you do what you can do. Miniature painting is a young man's game, I guess. You gotta have young eyes. All right. And then also I'm just looking because I don't want to actually use the contrast of the contrast paint because I got my shadows underneath, so I really don't want it to pool anywhere. I'm just gonna kind of leave it. I want to brush it away if I see it pooling somewhere. And then there's the third guy. I like it when we're 10 minutes in and I got 3 models done. The priming is the pain in the ass. That's why I do that off camera if I can help it, because it's not that it's hard, it just takes too long to do, especially the way I do it. If I had a big old garage and I could spray paint these black and then put dry brush on them, it would be so much easier, but I'm kind of adverse to spray paint. I don't like to use it, and especially I really can't use it since I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. So I gotta. But also, what I've noticed is that when you prime stuff with spray paint, it's really easy to overdo it, and you can lose some of the detail in the models. So even though it takes a lot longer to do this way, I think the result is better because you don't end up putting on too much primer and then covering up or basically filling in the details, so you can preserve more of the detail. Hope that made sense. So while we're doing this, I'll talk a little bit about She Hates Games. So I just did another pre-record with Diana today. So this Friday, you're going to see we have the Escape the Dark Sector expansion, which really came out pretty cool. And she basically dialed in remote from California, and we tested that out, and it worked out pretty great. And it was a good game to play. And so that's going to be this Friday. And then next Friday, we just did a pre-record today of the Long Shot the Dice game, which she really had a fun time with. So that'll be a fun show to see on Friday. So the Friday of the July 4th weekend. And then after July 4th, her show is up and running. So then she doesn't have to do crazy rehearsal schedule anymore. So she should be able to do live streams with us since we got this remote thing worked out. We just need to figure out how to, there are only certain good games will actually be able to be played remotely because, you know, you still have to be able to see the board and stuff. So only certain games can really work that way because you got to have a very big, clear board that you can see stuff with. But that's why like Escape the Dark Sector is perfect because that's like a storybook adventure almost where we're just flipping story pages and it works out pretty good. And the Long Shot the Dice game is just rolling right, so those are easy too. Hey, Best of Star Trek's here. It says scrubbing the floors and listening in. Well, thank you. All right, cool. Yeah, so to catch up, we've already done 6 models. We got, let me see if I can, where are these guys here? Yep, I've already got 1, 2, 3 of these guys. And 1, 2, 3 of these guys. Fleshed, if you will. Let's get some of this stuff on this guy. Now, with some of these bigger models, I'll probably want to add a hint of some kind of color other than this brown, just to break it up. Because I mean, if they're all just like giant, they're just going to be giant tree people at the end of the day. Like that's not very scary. I don't think you definitely want these things to be menacing because we're going to be fighting them in the Mars desert, I guess. So we need to be ready. So the 2 shows I did with Diana that are pre-recorded, they're both about an hour and a half each. So they're not very long. But they were a good test. We were just testing to see how the remote stuff works. So we can do a longer game when she actually does live stream later. The trouble we have, the streaming service that we use, you can only do pre-records if it's 2 hours or less. So we've got to kind of time ourselves and keep the show less than 2 hours. So any pre-record that you see us do is actually always going to be 2 hours or less. It won't ever be more than 2 hours. So we kind of have to do games in the pre-record that we know will only take 2 hours. All right, there's that guy. These guys end up looking very bug-like. Oh, the play, yeah. Her play is yeah, this is Nemesis Lockdown, Best of Star Trek. So these are the Lockdown figures. And her play runs all of July, and then she'll be back August 1st. She'll be back in New York. So she'll be back for real in August. So really, it's just the month of July, and we've already got 1 pre-record done for July, so there's really just 3 other shows. Let's see. This one, I think I have we have a card for this guy. So, yeah, I think... Do we think this color is going to work for that guy? I think so, right? I try to match the cards as much as I can, but whenever they're so dark, it's really hard to get a good color palette. That's my one complaint with miniature designers. Like, get your stuff, just have good reference photos that we can actually use. So we can match the card. There's nothing more satisfying than having a miniature that looks exactly like the card in the game. But if the card in the game is just like all black, or even worse, all white, I hate painting white. It's just so stupid. It's just not a good. It's not a good color. Yep, Nemesis. Let me tell you the story. I was all in on Nemesis, but I couldn't get it. I got into it whenever it was super popular. The Kickstarter just came out. I missed the Kickstarter, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And I didn't want to pay $500 on eBay for it. So I actually had to wait for the Wave 2 shipping that came out a while back. And so it was like 2 or 3 years ago, I got the base game finally. They had basically a warehouse. I guess when they were making room for the Phase 2 or Wave 2 shipping, they had a bunch of leftovers in the warehouse, and my game store found or got one of those and said, "Do you want this?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I do." And then over time, I just ended up getting the rest of it. But I love playing it solo. It is super fun and exciting solo game. I've really only ever played it with Diana multiplayer, and Diana didn't like it multiplayer. I think it was kind of too much for her. But I think it would be fun to play multiplayer with people who like to screw your neighbor. If you like a screw your neighbor type of game, I think it would be super fun, but I've never, unfortunately, been able to do that. However, my younger brother's coming to visit me for 4th of July, so we may do a Nemesis Lockdown show together, just because I know he likes to screw me over. So that would be a fun game, I think. So we might have some live show of this for 4th of July. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, when Nemesis Lockdown expansion came out, I'm like, yeah, I'm in on this. I don't want to miss this anymore. So I'm happy I got it. But I am also a fan, or more of a fan, of the Aliens IP. So that's why I like Nemesis 2. The aliens look very much alien-like. These aliens look more like the I don't know if you guys ever saw the horror movie Pumpkinhead. They look kind of like that. They're not like really aliens. They're kind of like more bug kind of aliens. Which bugs are kind of creepy to me, so I'm not super. I don't know that I'm super excited about these sculpts, but they definitely look cool. But they're not as cool as the intruders from the first game, I think. Except for the queen. I think I like this queen better, just because of the egg sack. All right, cool. That's those guys done. Let's start with these kind of dragon-looking dudes. Now, again, I guess I'm calling this fleshing them, because basically we'll probably add one more color on top of these just to give them some oomph. And I think since they're Mars, or they're supposed to be Mars-ish, maybe we'll put a little hint of red on these things, maybe, or maybe some orange, just to make it look more like they could camouflage themselves in the sand. But yeah. Yeah, I got the base game for $100 something. Yeah, but yeah, at the time, if you couldn't find the base game, you were paying $300 plus for sure. It's ridiculous. And it's a super fun solo game, but it takes a long time to set up, so I'm not sure you get a lot of plays out of it. I play it maybe 2-3 times a year. So if you're only playing it that much, $300 to $500 is a lot of money. All right, cool. Just like that. These guys are getting there. Let's get some more stuff going. So, talking about spending money, I need your guys' advice. I've been on and off the fence about getting that crazy game called Foundations of Rome. They're in stock now at Arcane Wonders after being out of stock for so long. I almost got the Kickstarter and then I didn't, and then I just didn't know, because for me it hits a lot of things. First, it's got really cool giant building miniatures. It's pretty easy to play. It's made by the guy that made Century Spice Road, and Diana loves Century Spice Road. But it just looks like it takes up a crap ton of space on the table. I'm not even sure my table is big enough to play it. And I feel that if you don't get the monument expansions, then it's kind of a waste. And so anyway, long story short, it's like almost $300 with shipping to get a copy of it with all the expansions and stuff. What say you? Is it worth $300 for Foundations of Rome? I don't know. I'm kind of saying no at this point. But I could be convinced. All right, now that's all the little guys. So now we're going to do some of these big guys. Look at this guy. Oh, Beth says you won't buy it no matter how good it looks. Yeah, I mean, I think the key to it really comes down to if it's a super light game, which it looks like it is, then it's got to get to the table a lot, because the trouble is we don't really play a lot of super light games. So the only time we play super light games is when we have people, non-gamers over. And so, but we already have a bunch of non-gamer games that are easier to play and don't take up half of a city block. Beth says you only live once. What do you need to know? That's true. You do only live once. That's normally my motto. If I'm on the fence about something, I'll just go ahead and get it because I'll regret not getting it later. But I do have kind of my own internal limit is $300. The minute it gets into the 300 range, I start really double thinking things. What are my favorite non-gamer games? Well, that's a great question. First off, the brand new Seven Wonders Architects has been a huge hit with non-gamer friends. It's super easy to pick up for them, and it really looks cool, and it sets up in 5 seconds. So that's a good one. I recently found a game by Skybound. Oh man, I'll have to look up the name of the game, but it's like a bluffing game, and it's really super fun game. I'll look it up when we're done here. But yeah, I have like a little shelf of non-gamer games that if people come over and they want to play, but they're not a gamer, I'll pull it out. And also I don't like to. That's the whole point of She Hates Games channel too. A lot of people do channels that. They're like, oh, my wife doesn't play games with me, so we're gonna get her to play a bunch of light games, and then I'll say she plays games with me. No, if she can't play the heavy games, then she's not worth being your wife. Sorry, dude. So yeah, don't pander. Don't just because someone isn't a gamer doesn't mean they can't possibly comprehend a heavier game. You just got to be a better teacher. But also understand some of the heavier games are a huge time commitment, so you gotta give people some idea of what they're getting themselves into. All right, what do we? So we got 2 of these guys. So here's the second one. You know what else is the Marvel United non-gamers love the hell out of, and it's good that I'm mentioning now because tomorrow my Kickstarter gets delivered of the Marvel United X-Men. So I'll get all the cool X-Men stuff that I'll paint. Now here's the thing: I love that Marvel United game, but I hate the miniatures. I thought I would love the chibi miniatures, but they're just so dumb to paint. I love painting miniatures like this that have tons of little nooks and crannies and stuff because they paint themselves for the most part. You literally just dry brush them and they will paint themselves. You can see right now I just have this ginormous brush and I'm just slathering paint on this thing without any rhyme or reason to it. And it works on this because there's so much little nooks and crannies detail that the paint will suck into. With those chibi miniatures, they're so flat. There's so many big flat surfaces that it's just a major pain to paint them. So I have all of the original Marvel United Kickstarter stuff, and I've only painted the base box because I just couldn't get past it. It's just too much to paint. Whereas these, you can see, I mean, I literally primed these yesterday for an hour, and we've been doing this for 30 minutes, and I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 models painted. So there's just something nice about when the models themselves are conducive to being easy to paint. However, there was this problem too, that they were a little bit harder to prime. So I think a lot of the companies are going heavy on the mold release, and so there's still a lot of mold release left on the model. So I'm not one. I hate to have to do extra steps, so I don't wash my models or anything. I'll just slather on more primer over it to get it over the hump. But that's me being lazy, when really the best practice is you should wash your models before you paint on them. Yep, the Nemesis original is, yeah. The retail price is $120. So if someone's selling an original retail used game for $130, that's a ripoff. I'm pretty sure you can still get it online at some stores for $120. You won't get any of the extra Kickstarter stuff though, so you might want to look and see what other Kickstarter stuff is available. This lockdown right here you can get on Miniature Market. I think the base game is 100 something. Yeah, you definitely there's something nice about getting these new, especially since they have a lot of specific inserts for the models to hold, and if someone maybe ditched the inserts or something, that could be bad, because some people say, hey, when I put varnish on the model or something, then I don't have to worry about the model banging around in the box. The paint for the most part won't really chip off. That is called a lie. Paint will chip off if they bump into other models. So you definitely, if you have a paint job you like on a model, you definitely want to protect it somehow with foam or lately these games have molded inserts, and the molded inserts work. They hold the model in place. Yeah, you definitely do not want to buy miniatures games on Amazon. That is the biggest place to rip off, because most of the game stores will resell them there at a super high resale rate. And you don't want to do that. Most times, you know what I do is there's a website called boardgameprices.com. I think it's called Board Game Atlas now. But if you go there and put it in, it'll show you every online place that it's available with all the prices for any game. So that's a good way to check to see if things are in stock anywhere. All right, cool. I think that's that guy done. We got one more of those guys. And then we're on to the queen. Oh no, we got two guys hanging from the rafters. We'll get those guys in a second. All right, 35 minutes. We're making good time. All right, cool. Yeah, I wish, I do love Board Game Geek, but, they don't have a really good way to figure out where things are available. So they really need to, Board Game Geek just needs to buy Board Game Atlas and include that into the Board Game Geek stuff, and then you can just have it all in one spot. That's my humble opinion. Yeah, I mean, the other thing also is some games are just not, they don't go to retail. So then you're really beholden on the secondhand market. So pretty much all the Kickstarter games are that way. And that's why I like to go to, there is a store called funagain.com. And Fun Again Games is they are an online store, but they're also a Kickstarter fulfillment company. And so if the Kickstarter people use Fun Again, you'll actually find Kickstarter versions of the stuff on the Fun Again website. For example, the So You've Been Eaten game that we did last week. I have the collector edition Kickstarter of that, and you can get the collector edition on Fun Again right now. So like, I didn't even need to do the Kickstarter. I could have just waited for it to come out on Fun Again. All right, look at these bad boys. They're like, it's almost like I'm singing in the rain, singing in the rain, I'm coming to kill you. Right, yep, I'm glad I went with this skeleton horde color, because the Agros Dunes would have been too dark, I think. Because typically with hero type figures, I will do the priming just like this. So there's like these nice deep shadows, and then I'll lighten it up even further, so that way whatever color I'm using is going to shine through better or be more vibrant. But in these, we want them to be dark because they're aliens that are dark in the dark recesses of the space station or whatever. But I want the darkness to come from the shadows, not from the color. And so a lot of times, if you put a darker color on top of a dark prime, then the darker color will even be more dark than what it started as. So there's gradients of what kind of colors you want. Yeah, this guy is pretty big. All right. That's the other cool part about this specifically. Anytime I do monster figures, they're easy to do because it's all in the shading. The color is just there as an accent. So I can use this giant brush and just slap it on, and it doesn't take a lot of thought. Whoa, Diana's here. It says, reading this, I gain chat. I don't know what that means, but there you go. There's Singing in the Rain #1 done. And we got one more Singing in the Rain, and he's right here. Whoa, singing in the rain. All right, get some stuff on. There we go. 40 minutes in, and we've got all but 3 models left to do for the aliens. Slap it on, slap it on. So, yep. I told them, Diana, that we did a pre-record today. That's going to be done for next Friday. And this Friday's show is going to be super exciting. I don't want to spoil anything for this Friday show, but I'll just say that something has happened in that show that never happened the first time we played it. And we might have some more Dark Sector shows because actually the Escape the Dark Sector, they came out with 3 expansions in the Kickstarter, and all 3 expansions are out now. They're you can get them in retail. I'm still waiting for my Kickstarter to deliver, so I just bought the first expansion so we could play it on the show. But as soon as we get as soon as I get the collector box and the Kickstarter version, then there's 2 more expansions that we'll be able to go through, which would be pretty cool. All right, cool. I think that's that. Yep, so Diana definitely had fun, that's for sure. All right. That is him. All right, we got these 2 big old beastie guys, and I think it's supposed to be this guy, maybe? I couldn't tell you. So the question is, do I do them the same color or not? And I guess, yeah, I'm going to do these guys the same color. I might actually go aggro students on these guys, but we'll do them normal first. Yeah, Best of Star Trek. It's amazing how the board game community is not that big. Video game subscribers get millions of subs, but board game people, they just don't subscribe to videos, I don't think. It's interesting. So yeah, I think Shut Up and Sit Down is the biggest board game video channel. They have almost 1 million, I think. It's also funny how some of these, like Dice Tower has so many contributors and so many people, and they pay so many salaries for just having 300,000 subscribers. Like, and Shut Up and Sit Down only has 2 people, and they have more. So, I don't know. I think there's definitely a opportunity for them to make more money if they don't hire more people. But it is less work if you hire more people. I think Diana will attest that doing this show is a lot of work. We do it 2 days a week, and we also have to pre-play the games before we do the show on them. So poor Diana is basically playing 4 games a week, and all the show prep and stuff. It's I can imagine Dice Tower and these guys, they do a lot of work to make all this content. I mean, we don't do any. That's why we do live streaming, because we don't do any video editing or anything. It's just what you see is what you get. Because otherwise, it's going to even be more work, and we don't want to do more work. If we're going to do work, we'd rather do work of showing you guys games and painting and stuff. We don't need to do post-production work. All right, how's that? Any missed spots? There's a spot. There's a spot. All right, cool. Yes, I've watched Tantrum House. They're cool people for sure. They got a lot of cool exclusives. I think the trouble with me and the trouble I have even somewhat with Dice Tower is it's all so family oriented. And we don't have kids or anything, so like we're more adult gamers. And so they're cool people to watch and whatnot, but all of their content seems to be more family oriented. And we are not family people. You're our family. All the people that are watching right now. Yeah, they have a lot of cool giveaways, and also they do Kickstarter exclusive. They do a Kickstarter, I think, once a year, so you get a lot of promos and stuff from their Kickstarter, which is neat. All right, we're getting the base color on these guys, no problemo. Yeah, I can't wait to play this Nemesis Lockdown. From everything I've seen, it looks almost identical to the original. They just kind of reskinned it, and there's a couple of extra rules, and that's what I love. And that's why we love the Dark Sector expansion, because you'll see in the video, but they don't really. There's only a couple of add-ons. Otherwise, it's the same game. You don't have to relearn the game, which is great. So I'm getting the feeling Nemesis is that same way. This Lockdown is basically played almost identical to the original. It's just there's a couple of extra cool stuff you can add. All right, cool. I think that guy is done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Will Wheaton show is a good show. I'm sad that's gone. All right, so that is all of our. So let's do this. So we've got all these little guys. So there's yep. Here, we'll do this way so you can see. I'll just zoom out. All right, so we got 3 of these little guys done. Whoa. We still need to put little steel on them, but we'll steel up their bases later. There's 3 of these little guys. Whoa. Then there's this guy. This contrast paint actually looks cooler when it dries too. So sometimes when it goes on and it's too wet, and you're like, what is this wetness? It doesn't look what I want it to, but then when it dries, it really ends up kind of solidifying and looking cool. Like this guy. Again, that's just dry brushing and then throwing color on it, and there's already a lot of cool little variations and stuff. So there's 2 of these guys. We're just going to put some eyes on him later, and he should be done. There's 2 of these guys. I love these. They look like they could be right out of Aliens, like a different kind of alien xenomorph. I might give these guys a hint of blue just so they look like the intruders. Then there's these guys. They're pretty big. So there's 2 of those guys. We got them done. There's 2 of these guys. We just painted these just now in the last 40 minutes. All right, cool. This is also a good way to spot check. So you can see I missed a little bit right here. All right. were going to play last night, but I guess started a fight, got grumpy building a cat tree, ruined it for myself. Whoa, TJ's here. All right, then there's our Singing in the Rain guys. He's singing in the rain, and he's singing in the rain. Yep, looks cool. And then we got these big guys. Roll. We see any missed spots or anything? Oh, I think we're doing pretty good there. And then finally, we are now ready to paint the queen. So, like I mentioned, I think we're going to use a flesh color. Yep, so here's our good old Guillemot flesh. It's my go-to flesh color. All right. And here's the queen. Look at that egg sac. I want to touch that egg sac. I want to touch it. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. Fleshy, flesh, flesh. Right, sort of makes sense because the queen is more vulnerable than the other underlings, so it's more fleshy. I like your egg sac. How do you make eggs in the morning? Oh, I just squirt them out my butt. What? Right? We need more t-shirts. All right. Yeah, I'm liking that flesh color. It's pretty cool. I'm putting on a little bit heavy because then it'll look, it'll really get into the recesses of, it makes it look gooey, hopefully. Right? You never hear any of those family channels saying about touch my egg sac, touch my jag on. All right. Now here's the trick. Now we're going to do these tentacle things in the bone color. Like the others. That gets us a little two-tone action. Let there be bones. Yeah, you can already tell the difference between the bone color and the flesh color. It's a good contrast, I think, anyway. All art is subjective, so, whatever you think. Do, do, do. painting egg sacs. Well, it looks like I'm almost out of this bone paint. I'm going to have to go to the game store and get some more bone paint. I do use it a lot. It's really great. That's one thing I realize with the contrast paints is that the lighter ones are better for this kind of technique where I'm painting over a darker primer. If the contrast color itself is dark, it'll just look like a dark mess of blobby darkness. You don't want that. That's right. If you don't like it, paint your own sacs. All right, cool. What are we at? We're just at an hour. And we've got color on all these guys. Cool. Now there is like these little arms. I'm going to put this bone color right on top. It'll just make it darker overall, but it'll make it look like not flesh part. Yep. Now the cool part is, the fun part is this is going to dry and then it won't look so shiny, but this is the way you want it to look right now. You want it to look shiny and like gloppy. So when this is done, we'll probably put a hard coat on top, which is like a glossy finish, and then that'll make it keep this glossiness because you definitely want it to look like gooey. Gooey would be the word. Cool. That is all of the aliens before we put any details on them. So I think, we're going to let these dry and we'll probably come back to them another day. So yeah, let me put these back here, back here, back here, back here. So you guys can see what's going on. I know you're probably saying, what are these things? These are the mountains for Lord of the Rings. We'll end up painting those later. And that goes there, and then these can go here. All right, cool. Let's while we're waiting for that to dry, let's switch to our brown color. I'm going to paint up good old Daggett, or Muffet is his name, but he is a Daggett. That's the name for a dog, I guess, in Battlestar Galactica. All right. We're going to use good old Gorgrunta fur. And just so if no one knows, this is what Daggett looks like. Or Muffet. Muffet's the name of the dog. And this is what we're going to be painting. So you can see his eyes and his nose are metal. And he's got little metal bands. Otherwise, everything else is this kind of brown color. And actually, you know what? He's more tan than brown. So I'm not going to use this Gorgrunta fur. I'm going to use our Agros Dunes. Dunes is the way to go. But it says, I know you have a million things to paint for Lord of the Rings. Send me a sample to follow, and I'll knock out part of the armies. Nice. Yeah, no, I think the thing with the Lord of the Rings figures is there's just so many of them. So we're going to want to I got to batch prime them. So again, the priming is the pain in my ass. Other than that, throwing color on them is not going to be a big deal. All right. This might be, not sure I like this color. I might come back and do some brown on this. But we got to have Daggett, or the Daggett, named Muffet. Yeah, Raiko is locked up in the room and she's chasing her tail and having a time of it. So we will probably be ending this stream shortly if she doesn't behave herself. All right, cool. Oh, whoops. Yeah, that's definitely not brown enough. So let's get the brown out. I should have went with my instinct. I knew my instinct was brown. Oh, what did I do with the brown? Oh yeah, here it is. All right. Come on, Muffet, you can do it. We're going to give you some brown. Because that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Muffet is about to go into Nemesis space station and get killed. Or maybe Muffet will be the one that saves everybody. You never know, right? So, trivia question. Well, not a question, but a trivia fact. In the Battlestar Galactica TV show, Muffet was actually a chimpanzee underneath that costume, if you can believe it or not. Okay, I dig that better. Yeah, that's one interesting trick, Red Hood, I do a lot is I'll use a lighter color, and then if I want to darken it up, I'll just kind of almost even dry brush a darker contrast paint on top of the lighter, but so you get kind of a blended look, which is interesting. All right, let me grab a gray, and we're going to everything that I want silver is first going to get gray on it. So we're going to put basilicum gray. So we'll start with Moffat here. His nose and eyes and ears are going to be silver. And also all these bits in between. Cool. That does it for him. We got these little guys. They're definitely standing on a steel beam or something. So let's just gray that up. So put some silver on the bottom of that. All right, so tomorrow night, I'm going to be soloing the Reckoners game, and I haven't played the original game in over a year and a half. So the cool part is it looks like the expansion just adds stuff. So again, it's not going to be rocket science, I don't think, but it is kind of a meaty game. So it might not go well tomorrow. We'll see. It's going to be a lot. All right, these guys I kind of overspilt on the bone, so I'm just going to redo the base with this gray, and then we'll do a silver on top. And that's the beauty of darker colors always cover lighter colors. So if you use these light colored paints, then it's easy to mask it with a darker color if you mess up or if you color outside the lines. All right, let's look at this guy. He's coming out pretty good. There's this thing that he's stepping on. I think that is crushed metal. I'm hoping it is. So we're just gonna gray this up and we'll put some metal on top. Oh, but there is something leaking out of there too. So this might be like a water. Maybe it's a 6-pack of beer. Oh no, he broke my 6-pack of beer. So we'll see what happens there. Here's the other guy. Yeah, I really don't like when it's hard to tell what the hell the thing actually is. Like, then you're just kind of guessing. But we'll see what happens. All right, anybody else need any help on their base before I go to the orange cans? All right, we're going to switch to orange. That's right, titties and beer, Ted. It's always titties and beer. All right, we're going to grab this orange color because for me, anytime I see a can like this, I don't know, I just like to make it orange. It seems very like toxic. It seems to make sense because these things are normally rusted anyway, right? So orange lends itself to a natural rust kind of color. That's pretty easy. How many cans? Hey, Crickstar's here. Oh yeah, that's not a can. Who else has standing on a can? This guy's standing on a can. You get a can, and you get a can. This I think I like this orange color because it reminds me there's an old movie with Chevy Chase called Modern Problems where he gets superpowers by basically getting covered in toxic waste. And so he's driving behind a giant truck that has cans of nuclear waste. And they're this exact color. It's like this contamination orange. All right, cool. That works for me. Oh, yes. Why did Diana hate Nemesis? Well, I think there's two reasons to hate Nemesis for you. The first is that it does take a while for an actual alien to come out and try to kill you. And there's a lot of running around trying to get stuff done before the aliens come out. And when the aliens come out, then they completely decimate you in like 5 seconds. So it can be very demoralizing if you don't know what you're doing or if you haven't experienced it the first time. The orange color is not called contamination, which it should be called. It's called Griffhound orange. That's what I use, Griffhound orange. All right, cool. There's one last gray I gotta put on. Where did I put my gray? I must have put it back. Yes, here it is. Reading is fundamental. All right, these ginormous guys, they're definitely standing on metal sheets. Oh, he's standing on an orange can too. Crap. It's always the little things that you don't see until the last second. All right, so we're going to put some gray on this metal. Yep, because when we put the metal on top of the gray, it looks really cool. All right, cool. All right, next one. All right, these guys are pretty big. That was my one complaint with the original Nemesis game, is that they have these ginormous aliens that look really cool, but they never come out. Like, I don't think I played a single game where a big one has come out. Always it's either the queen comes out or a bunch of normal size intruders, but no normal ones. So it's cool to have these videos or to have these giant models, but if you can't ever play with them, it's kind of whatever. Red Hood says he watched our Nemesis video. Yeah, that was we're when she gets back, we'll probably do another one of these for the lockdown. But like I mentioned, when my brother's in town, I think we're going to do this lockdown with him, because then you get to see what it's like when people screw you. Because I think I haven't read the rules yet, but I think there are more ways that you can, because the trouble is in the original Nemesis, they call it semi-co-op because you can have objectives that say that you got to kill the other person or something, but most of the time the game is so punishing that you don't want it. If you spend your time screwing the other person, you're really just screwing yourself. And I think in this new lockdown game, they've added some extra mechanics that allow you to still try to screw your neighbor without it being so punishing to yourself. That's what I heard anyway. So we'll see if that actually works out in practice. Cool. All right, kids. So for those playing at home, looks like we got all the aliens pretty much done except for some highlights that we need to do, especially eyes and whatnot, but we won't do eyes now. So for recap, here's how the queen ended up coming out. We got some flesh skin with a flesh egg sac. And I'm going to put some green goo all over this probably. And yeah, just give them some glowy eyes, because glowy eyes is where you need. But for the most part, it doesn't really need much else. Because again, these textures are really cool. I think it's going to work. Then we got these Singing in the Rain guys. Yeah, they just need glowy eyes, and I think they'll be done. Also, this cable, I was probably going to color like a maybe red or something. All right, these guys, yeah, they just need glowy eyes and they'll be done. And that guy came out cool. Yep. Yeah, these guys might be a good test to try something. I'm just going to try something. We'll see if it looks stupid or not. We're going to go back to our Griffhound Orange. And I'm just going to kind of dry brush this. I just want to see if I can. This is going to add a little bit of something to it. Because again, these guys are like in the Mars desert, so they might need a little bit of something on there to make them less brown. Maybe I'll give them a little bit of a red. Let me get the other guy and you can stare and compare. See, it just gives them a little bit of I've been in the Martian desert. What do we think? Good? Not good? Right? I do like the red. I think it makes it look. I mean, again, we're not putting a lot on. We're just kind of giving it a little bit of a highlight almost. Right? It gives them a little bit of it gives it a little more of a two-tone. Yeah, it looks less Geiger that way, that's for sure. But we're going to shine them up anyway. But, let's see if it works with this guy too, maybe. We'll, this could be the highlight that we need. It just makes them look like they came from the Mars desert, not from the Sahara desert. sense. It also kind of makes them look bloodier too. Like they just ate some human man flesh. Yeah, I think that gives them personality for sure, than just being single colors. So I do that to the rest of these. Just give them a little bit of a. That's the key with all these miniatures for me is try to keep it to 2 colors, but if the 2 colors complement each other pretty well, then it will really look cool. If there's too many colors, it'll look too complicated because these things got to read from far away also, so you don't want to do too much. But if you just have a single color, it looks very bland. So that's why if you do what I'm doing, kind of, brush on top of a color, you get this like 2-tone color look. That's not bad. Cool. Well, I think I'm going to do that with all the other models in another time, but I think that's going to be it for me. The dog is barking. Dog is scratching. So I got to call it. But thanks everybody for hanging out. Hopefully, so just to recap, I guess where we're at, we got good old alien with egg sac, done and done. We got some singing in the rain guys, 2 of them, done and done. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. So these guys, we've got, let's see, 2 of these guys, painted before your very eyes. We got 2 of these guys. We got 2 of these big guys. Roll. And that's it for tonight. So yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks to Diana for hanging out. Whoa. And yeah, hope everyone had a good time. And I'll see you tomorrow on the Reckoner Show. Have a good one, everybody.